Alright, so we've got our new string on, we've got our D-loop tied, we've got our peep temporarily tied in. I'm going to probably bump it up so that I can get more clearance out of this sight, because it's a big sight. And I'm taking this setup to Total Archery Challenge. That's why I've got these big stabilizers on it. I would not run these big stabilizers, but for Total Archery Challenge, I do want to have some stabilizers for those longer shots. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shoot, I'm going to paper tune every arrow. So I'll shoot it, turn it, shoot it, turn it until I get a bullet hole, and then I'll mark on the knock where it needs to be up. And so that way, or I'll mark on the actual arrow shaft where it needs to be up. That way we get the same arrow pointed up, the indicator out on every single one of them. It's a little time consuming, but I do think it makes a big difference in the long run. Alright, so we've paper tuned all of these shafts, and on each shaft I've put a little mark there with a paint pen where it needs to be up. So when I fletch this, I'm going to actually run indicator vanes out, because my Matthews lift needs the indicator vane out when I 3-fletch. So I'm going to run them the exact same way out of my Levitate, just in case I end up having to use my other bow at some point during the season. So I'm going to put this with the indicator up inside my bits jig. We're doing a 3-fletch. I've already primed these with the tack primer. I'm going to run tack glue on there. These are 2.75 inch driver vanes. And so we'll go, in my case, I'm going to go white vein, white vein, white vein, green vein, because I want the green being outside when this gray mark is pointed up. The first one on is a white one, roll it. Next one on is going to be a white one as well. I've already primed all of these. Just make sure they're going to match good. Just dabbing it through that channel and then running the tip through there. I'm running a straight fletch, but a little bit left, a straight left, I guess you could call it. Alright, so white, white, green. This is a pretty aggressive left offset for tack vanes. They're pretty stiff, so I normally don't try to get too crazy with them. I'm shooting these at Total Archery Challenge, so I'm going to get a little more aggressive than I normally would. Alright, so take my Q-tip where all that glue is kind of blown out the side. We're just going to use a Q-tip to kind of smooth it out. I'd like to think it makes a little bond there on the edge of the vane, but I don't know that it does. So now we got a pretty aggressive twist on this. Looks good. Color combo is awesome. I'm going to do 3 of those, shoot them for a while, see how I like them, and then if we like those, we will do the rest with that same left offset, pretty aggressive. Beauty of using these wraps is if I don't like this, if they don't fly great, if it's too much, too aggressive, I can just peel this wrap off and start over. I don't have to worry about my carbon being nicked up or stripped away or anything like that. So, big fan of using wraps on arrows, especially ones you're going to hunt with. $294. All right, $294 3 times. So I think it's safe to say 294 is our speed out of these arrows. All right, so next up, because we're using the UV slider or SE, XL, whatever, 3-pin sight, we got to do some walk back testing to get our 30-yard mark, and that'll kind of let us see where our sight's at. Then we can print a sight tape, slap it on here, kind of see how much clearance we're going to have with our peep at where it's at. I've raised it up a little bit, so it's a little higher than it was, I think. So hopefully we'll get plenty of clearance for total archery challenges and things like that, but we do have to walk it back and get it back to 30 to get that mark. So since I've moved this peep, I have no clue where these are going to hit. We're going to start fairly close and we'll work our way back. Alright, so that was like at 10 yards and we hit high with our 30 pin, which is what we should. So we're going to keep bagging on up, get closer to 20, and do it again. I think this little bracket right here was our problem. This is I think this is a bridge lock adapter that allows you to move your sight to the left. This sight came off of a lift, so it had been in a bridge lock system, and that allowed you to pull it over even more. I'm not using bridge lock, obviously, on this Levitate, so this bracket was keeping me from being able to adjust it and get it lined up perfect. So I've taken this out, and it seems to be doing a lot better. All right, 30-yard pin. I think we finally got her dialed in after taking a few shots at it. So I was high and then a little less high, and now we're down here just left of the X with a pretty good shot on this one. Obviously I'd spend a little more time on this, but I just need to get measurements today and then I can fine tune it as I go. So basically I'm going to leave that pin where it's at because that pin is set that makes my 30, which doesn't move except for the whole sight moving. And then I'll fine tune that top and bottom pin to get 20 and 40. All right, so I think we can say our 20 is pretty well dialed in. There's not much of an X to shoot at, but it looks like 2 X's and maybe a 9. So call our 20 pin good. Now we're gonna get our measurements and we can do a sight tape.